Yo, what is up, guys? Hope you're all doing well. In this video, we're talking about the Tamiya off-road vehicles for beginners. I'm going to sort of go through the list of sort of the different chassis they do for the different categories, and then I'll sort of pick one from each category, which I think would be perfect for a beginner. So, let's start off with the favourite of everyone, rally cars. So in the rally section, you've got TT01, TT02 and the XV01. Best out of that lot, XV01, 100%. You've got covers for the ESC and steering servo. The motor is front mounted. So you could think of it like, if you take a real rally car, it's front engine, 4-wheel drive, right, for the WRC series. So what Tamiya have basically done with that is a front motor, all-wheel drive system, just like an actual rally car. Obviously, then you've got the TT01 and TT02, which are both rear motor, all-wheel drive. TT01 I wouldn't really suggest because there are holes in the chassis. If I show you my one just quickly, which I am in the process of rebuilding. Look at that, glorious blue. You've got holes in the bottom of the chassis. Now, if you're using the motor that Tamiya supply you, it's a brushed motor, so it's got little cooling bits taken out of it, and the way the motor sits, any dirt and everything can go into it. Where the battery sits, you've got holes in that to sort of dissipate the heat. So I can't really suggest the TT01. That's more of sort of like your tarmac. TT02, brilliant chassis, no holes in it for the motor to get clogged up and the battery to stay somewhat clean. However, where the steering goes, just up the front, you've got like little support bars, or what I'd call support bars. You can get stones and everything in there and it traps your steering, and yeah, you've then got to put some foam in it, so then you've got to do a little bit of an upgrade on it. Rallying, XV01, you've got little wheel arches on it to stop the dirt going in. You've got a covered ESC. So if you can hear that, I live next to a railway line. Yeah, so it's got wheel arches to stop the dirt going in. ESC and servo were covered, and the motor's at the front, and there's not really going to be much dirt up the front. So we'll move on to sort of a lot of people's favourite, which are the crawlers. Now, Tamiya only make two chassis on this, the CC01 and CC02. CC01 you can get with a Land Rover body. CC02 you can get with a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon body. Don't really know much about them. They are 4-wheel drive, got a little bit of articulation. But yeah, on that one, I'd probably go for the CC01 as it's a cheaper option. Going back to the rally quickly, TT02 is a cheaper option, more bodies. You've got the Toyota Yaris, the Subaru 99 Monte Carlo, 2004 Subaru Lancia Delta Integrale, and oh god, I'm trying to remember rally cars now. I think that's it for the rally cars on there. Oh, there is one more, but I can't quite remember. And the XV01 is only the Lancia Delta Integrale. But yeah, so TT02 is a lot cheaper than the XV01, but if you've got that extra bit of cash, XV01 for rally, and it's so much better. Crawlers, CC01. CC01 is just so much cheaper. Practically the same, just a little few differences on the CC02 compared to the 01, but the 01 is the cheaper option. Buggies, you've got a TRF 511, which is a 4-wheel drive buggy chassis, and a DT03, which is a rear-wheel drive buggy chassis. If you want the 4-wheel drive and that's what you prefer, TRF 511 is your way. If you want the rear wheel drive and you want it to be a little bit twitchy on the dirt, DT03. So that one, that's kind of down to your preference. I personally like the 4-wheel drive, and I think for beginners, 4-wheel drive will probably be better. So TRF 511. And monster trucks. Yes, Tamiya make monster trucks. Kind of. I know one person who's going to be interested in this category, because he goes on about one of them so much. Yes, beyond I am talking about you. So you've got the GF01, which is a 4-wheel drive. A G601 6-wheel drive with the portal axle, so it goes in one end and comes out at the bottom, gives it that extra ground clearance. Same with the GF series, actually, they do that as well, gives you that extra ground clearance. Now, the GF and the G6 both have a TR counterpart, but what I find is the counterpart is usually more expensive because that comes with a little bit more goodies. But yeah, the G6 is a 6-wheel drive, sort of mid-motor. So you've got the front wheels here, the motor here, and then the last two. With the GF, they're sort of like mid-motor, and then you've got the 2 wheels. And the SW01, which is the lunchbox chassis. Now, you can get 2 variants of this. You can get a 1/24th scale or a 1/12th scale. They're both the same chassis, but it's a lot of a tighter confinement. So there's not really much space to play around with for stuff. But it is sort of smaller and it comes in both sizes. Whereas the rest of the chassis, they all come in one size. For that, the lunchbox is cheap. And I mean, the 6-wheel drive, I mean, if that's what you want, and you want something crazy, Tamiya do a 6-wheel drive with a bus body. Sort of like the American style buses. Yeah, they do one with that body on it. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but, you know, why not? They also kind of do like a flat face truck. I don't know what it's really called, but that sits on a 6-wheel drive chassis. The GF series, a lifted truck, basically. So what we'd call a lorry, the Americans would call a semi. It's basically the tractor unit of one of them, and it's sort of lifted up, big exhaust coming off it. Looks crazy, but it does look good. Out of them, I probably wouldn't suggest going 6x6 to start off with. I'd probably go with one of the 4-wheel drives first, try and get the feel of it. So that kind of counts out the G601 and TR variant. So you're kind of left with the GF01 and the TR variant and the SW01. The SW, from what I've seen, is the cheaper option, but at the moment, with current stuff going on, won't bore you too much with that, it is a lot harder to get hold of that, whereas the GF series, a little bit more easier, and with the G6, it's a little bit easier. But yeah, I'd go SW01. If you can't get that, GF01. So, let's recap. Rally. TTO2, if you've got a little bit extra, go XV01. They're sort of like on the same level, but the XV01's just a little bit better. I mean, that Lancia Delta body as well. But yeah, the XV01 is a lot more expensive. TTO2 rally car, you're looking at, just for the kit itself, £130. XV01, you're looking at 250 odd. It is an expensive kit, but what you get out of it is great. These all come with like the plastic bushings rather than the bearings, so you're gonna have to spend a little bit extra on the bearings. It's essential. If you want it to keep running forever, bearings, well, a little bit longer anyway. So yeah, so TTO2, if you don't have a lot of money, definitely get that. XV01, if you've got that extra bit to spend, get that. TT01, wouldn't recommend it for rallying. Hell no. Stay away from the TT01 for rallying. There's holes in it. There's plenty of ways to mess your day up. So yeah, rallying, TT02, XV01 if you've got the money. Crawler, basically the exact same, but CC01 is a lot cheaper. I was about to say easier. It's not easier. It's cheaper than the CC02. Buggy, TRF 511 for a 4-wheel drive, DT03 rear-wheel drive. They do have other chassis, but I'm not too sure on what they're called. But yeah, if you want a rear-wheel drive, the DT series. If you want 4-wheel drive, the TRF. The TRF is also like that carbon plastic. So it's going to be a fair bit more expensive, but it's a lot of upgraded parts that you then don't have to go and buy. And the monster truck, if you've built kits before but you want something a bit different, definitely go with a 6-wheel drive. But if you haven't built a kit before but you want a monster truck, I'd go with one of the 4-wheel drives. So that's the GF01, GF01TR, and the SW01. Them three are the 4-wheel drive variants of the monster trucks. I put the lunchbox in there on the SW because it practically is a monster truck van as such, and it's probably one of the longest running kits in the Tamiya line. And some people love them, some people hate them. Hate them because they can't go bash them, but they're not built for that. They are built purely to like take out and so like show off to your mates or show off to people. But yeah, so that's my list. If I had to rank them, I love my rallying, so rallying would be up here. Monster trucks, buggies and crawlers are then sort of equal. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get into the start of off-roading, rallying would be the best because then you kind of learn how to control it a little bit. However, if you want that slow and progressively crawling over stuff, go with a crawler. But yeah, guys, so I just thought I'd give you this little one. I mean, definitely check out my other videos. If you haven't been caught up on the Tamiya build, I'd suggest you go and watch that. And if you haven't watched my last one of these, where I spoke about the on-road, highly suggest you go and watch that. And yeah, guys, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment if there's anything else you want me to talk about. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.